Welcome back to Krypton's Toy Vault. In this video, I'll be doing a quick, simple little review of this DC Direct Dark Knight Returns Superman figure. As you can see, out of the box, much like most other DC Direct, especially early 2000s DC Direct figures, we're not dealing with a whole lot. It comes with the figure. It comes with a pretty decent stand that does come with pegs and a like an interconnecting piece that you can use if you get more of these other figures from this series, this wave. You get that, you get the rubber Batman mask, and you get a kryptonite arrow. And that's it for accessories. Very simple, but these figures were a lot cheaper back then. It works. This is a pretty good little stand. It's got a kind of a concrete texture to it. Looks like concrete that's cracked. And there's the hole for your peg if you use it. You don't really need it with this figure, but it's nice to have an option. The Batman mask is just a pretty simple little rubber piece. It's very flexible. Torn. Like you just ripped it off of Batman's head. Like I said, it's very rubbery, very flexible. Then the arrow. Again, pretty simple. I can grab it. Pretty simple. He does have a hole in his hand so that you can take the tip off and slide it through so that he's holding it. But it does have a little bit of sculpting, a little bit of paint. Overall, looks okay. Nothing to write home about. Then you get to the actual figure, and I'm gonna be totally honest. Calling this an action figure is being pretty generous. It has, I believe, six points of articulation in actuality. We do have single jointed elbows that are better than some DC Direct. Not great, but you actually get, I don't know, 40 degrees of movement out of it. The shoulders look articulated, but they are stuck in place. We do have hips, technically, or leg joints. They go back a little ways, nothing much forward. And knees are similar to the elbows, but a bit less than 40 degrees of movement. And that's it. That is all the articulation that you get out of this DC Direct Superman figure. His neck doesn't move. It looks kind of like it should, but at least I haven't been able to get it to move. Shoulders don't move. Hands don't move. Feet don't move. No waist articulation. Nothing like that. It's quite essentially a really big, technically articulated statue. That's it. What they do have here is pretty flawless. The paint and sculpt and the overall proportions and size are spot on for Frank Miller's take on Superman. Not a good take on Superman, but his take on Superman. Frank Miller did not know anything about Superman, and he made that very obvious throughout this storyline. But yeah, it's still a cool looking Superman. He's big, imposing. He's got that kind of that stockier build, and overall, this figure captures the source material very well. You're not going to get it in posing. You're not going to pose it, other than you can have him hold the arrow. That's about it. No flight poses. No no dynamic posing. This is how he's going to sit. Do have the stand if you want to get the other figures and have them all together. I'm assuming they're all about the same articulation wise, but yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot to say about it. I will bring in some other figures and show those side by side and show you how they fit in. To start things off, I will go over the other DC Direct figures that are in my collection. I've already made videos on most, if not most of these. I don't think I've done one on this Hush one on the left. But on the right, we have Elseworlds Darkseid Superman. We have the DC Direct Cyborg Superman. Superman is Nightwing. Elseworlds Lightside Superman. And then we have the Hush, Batman Hush Superman. All these are, early to mid 2000s, all in that same era. And for the most part, are about the same size. The Elseworlds is a little bit smaller. He fits in. Both the Elseworlds and the Hush are closer to the 6.5 inch scale. I think they're all listed as 7 inch, but I think they work better. They're a little too small for 7 inch. I said none of them look terribly out of place. The Frank Miller version is usually portrayed as quite a bit bigger, so I think it doesn't look out of place. I think it works just fine. And here we have a couple of Marvel Legends. On the right, we have the Back in Black Deadpool. And then on the left, we have the Gambit from the Nemesis Build-A-Figure wave, the Age of Apocalypse one. And they're a little bit small. I don't think they quite work. They're not terrible because of how large Superman is portrayed in that franchise, that comic. But I think there are better placements for him. And lastly, here's a couple of McFarlane figures. We've of course got the Theatrical Deluxe Yada Superman on the right, and the Helix or Robot Number 4, Gary, whatever you want to call them, figure on the left. I think these work pretty good. They're all under that 7 inch scale, like barrier or like banner. They're about the same height, and of course Superman, the Dark Knight Returns DC Direct figure is quite a bit bulkier, and I think it works. I think it works better in it works better with other DC Direct figures, but if I was going to display it without the other DC Direct, it would be like this in a 7 inch scale collection. Final thoughts. It's technically an action figure, which is, I guess, good enough for me. I like I said, I've got that small handful of DC Direct figures, and most of them aren't that great articulation wise. Some of them are better than others. That Nightwing, as Superman as Nightwing, has actually a diaphragm cut. It's got it's got quite a bit of articulation. It doesn't have a ton of movement, but it has a lot of joints for a DC Direct figure. This, like I said, is basically a statue that has some articulation cuts. You can do now his elbow's up, his arm's up. It's a lot of range of movement there. That said, these figures are cheap. I got this figure new in box off of Facebook Marketplace for $10. I can't complain about that. It looks great. It's got good sculpt. Got great paint. Head sculpt looks good. The accessories I could take or leave. I don't really need them, but the figure itself looks good. You're not going to do dynamic posing, but he's going to sit on the shelf. He's going to look good. And that's what I needed it to do. I think it looks cool. I think it was definitely worth picking it up. If you get it for a good deal, I would definitely recommend it. Especially if you have other 7 inch figures or other DC Direct figures. It fits in really well. That said, when it comes to the DC Direct Dark Knight Returns Superman, that is all I have to say about it. This has been Krypton's Toy Vault. I thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.